People think betrayal comes from enemies. But the deepest wounds are given by family. And when the person who knows you best laughs at your pain, and something inside you dies, and something else is born. My name is Maya Thompson. I was 23 years old when this story began. I worked as a barista in a small cafe in Chicago. Early mornings, long shifts, quiet life. I was not loud, not confident, not special. I was the kind of person people forget when I leave the room. And then there was my sister, Vanessa Thompson. 4 years older than me. Beautiful. Bold. Always the center of attention. Where I stayed quiet, Vanessa spoke loudly. Where I stood back, she stepped forward. She didn't just shine. She made sure everyone else stayed in her shadow. Especially me. The humiliation happened at a family gathering. I almost didn't go. But that day, I had something to share. I had just received a promotion at work. It wasn't a big job, but it was mine. I wanted my family to know. And secretly, I wanted my sister to be proud of me. When I began to speak, Vanessa laughed. Not softly, not kindly. She laughed out loud. She looked at everyone and said, "You, promoted? Maya, all you do is pour coffee. Let's be serious." People laughed. I froze. Then she continued. She mocked my clothes, my voice, my life. And then she said the sentence that broke something inside me. "Honestly, having you as my sister is embarrassing." The room went silent. Then more laughter. I didn't cry. My chest felt tight. My heart was racing so fast it hurt. I wanted to disappear. I wanted the floor to open and swallow me whole. But I stayed still. I smiled. Because if I cried, she would win. And I couldn't let her see that she had destroyed me, so I swallowed my pain. And I remembered everything. Every word. Every face in that room. That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, replaying her voice again and again. That was the moment I understood something important. Vanessa didn't think I was weak. She thought I was nothing. And when someone believes you are nothing, they stop watching you. They stop worrying about you. They underestimate you. That was her mistake. At the time, there was nothing unusual about me. No anger issues, no threats. To everyone else, I was still the shy sister. The quiet one. The harmless one. Vanessa moved on with her life, success, parties, attention. She never once wondered what that day had done to me. She didn't know that while she was living freely, I was learning how to wait. This is not a story about anger. It's a story about patience. Because when a woman stays silent after being humiliated, she isn't forgetting, she's preparing. After the humiliation, Maya didn't explode, she disappeared. And when someone disappears quietly, investigators later realize that's usually when the real story begins. After that night, something about me changed. Not on the outside. On the outside, I was still Maya, the quiet barista, the shy sister, the girl people barely noticed. But inside, I shut a door. I stopped trying to explain myself, stopped trying to be understood, stopped hoping Vanessa would ever respect me. Hope was gone, and in its place, clarity arrived. I didn't confront Vanessa. I didn't argue. I didn't demand an apology. I did something far more dangerous. I became emotionless around her. I replied late. I skipped family gatherings. When we did meet, I smiled politely and said very little. To Vanessa, it looked like I was hurt, like I was weak, like I was slowly fading away. She liked that. She assumed she had won, while everyone thought I was recovering. I was rebooting. At the cafe, I started staying late. I asked questions. I watched how the business worked, numbers, suppliers, systems. Then I enrolled in online business and finance courses. At night, when the city slept, I studied. I learned about contracts, debt, brand image, and most importantly, people's weaknesses. No one suspected anything. Because no one ever expects the quiet one to be dangerous. Looking back, this was the period where Maya completely disappeared from her sister's radar. Vanessa never mentioned her in interviews. She didn't consider Maya relevant to her life at all. That was intentional. I wanted to be invisible. Vanessa, meanwhile, was thriving. She had quit her job and started working with a lifestyle brand. Her social media was full of smiles, trips, expensive dinners. To the world, she looked successful, confident, untouchable. But perfection always hides cracks, and I was watching closely. I noticed things others didn't. Unpaid bills, short-term loans, people she used, then discarded. Vanessa didn't build things. She used things. And people like that always fall the same way. One night, by accident, I learned something important. A mutual cousin mentioned Vanessa was struggling financially, quietly, desperately. She was living beyond her means, borrowing money, lying. But she didn't want anyone to know. Especially me. That's when I realized. Vanessa wasn't strong. She was fragile. And fragile people panic when control slips. At this point in the story, investigators believed something else. They believed Maya was simply healing, growing, moving on. Some even believed Vanessa was the victim of jealousy. After all, what kind of sister plans revenge instead of forgiving? That question still divides opinions. I didn't want to hurt Vanessa physically. I didn't want to scream or expose her publicly. That would be too easy. I wanted her to feel what I felt. Small, helpless, embarrassed, and most importantly, unaware. So I made my first move. A move so quiet. Vanessa didn't even notice it happening. Maya wasn't planning revenge with anger. She was planning it with precision. And the most dangerous plans are the ones the victim helps create themselves. Revenge doesn't always arrive with noise. Sometimes it arrives as help. And the most dangerous enemy is the one you trust. By the third year after the humiliation, Vanessa finally noticed me again. Not because she missed me, not because she felt guilty, because she needed something. Life had started pushing back. Her brand deals were unstable. Her lifestyle was expensive, and the image she showed online no longer matched her reality. That's when she reached out. It was late at night when my phone rang. Her voice was soft, careful, almost unfamiliar. She asked how I was doing. She said she was proud of me. She even apologized briefly for that thing years ago. But apologies that come with desperation always sound different. Then she said it. She needed advice. She had heard I was good with numbers, that I understood business. She wanted help managing her finances. I paused. Not because I was surprised, but because this was the moment I had been waiting for. I said yes. Investigators later noted this moment as critical. This was the first time Vanessa willingly handed Maya access to her private life. She didn't see it as dangerous. Why would she? I was still the little sister she once humiliated, the harmless one. I began helping her slowly. Budgets, payment schedules, small suggestions. I never rushed. I let her feel safe. Vanessa started sharing everything, bank statements, contracts, emails. She trusted me. And trust is a weapon when placed in the wrong hands. I didn't steal. I didn't lie. I simply observed, and I documented everything. What I found shocked even me. Vanessa wasn't just careless with money. She was manipulating people. Borrowing under false promises, using fake projections, signing contracts she couldn't honor. If exposed, her entire image would collapse. But I didn't expose her, not yet. I helped her stabilize just enough to survive, because I didn't want her to fall suddenly. I wanted her to rise first. At this stage, many would say Maya crossed a line. Why help someone who humiliated you? Why not walk away? Some investigators later argued that Maya became the villain here. But what they didn't understand was this. I wasn't helping Vanessa. I was positioning her. Something subtle changed. Vanessa started listening to me, depending on me, asking before making decisions. The roles had reversed. The sister who once laughed at me now waited for my approval. She didn't even realize it, and I never reminded her. One night, over dinner, she laughed and said, "I don't know what I'd do without you. You're actually useful." Useful. The same word she once used to insult me. I smiled. And I said nothing. Vanessa believed Maya was saving her life. What she didn't know was that every solution Maya gave her also tightened the rope. Slowly. Silently. Vanessa thought her collapse came from bad luck. Investigators later realized it came from timing. By the fourth year, Vanessa's life looked perfect again. New brand deals, a larger following, invitations to speak at events about female success. And standing quietly beside her, almost invisible, was me. Her sister, her advisor, her safety net, or so she believed. The turning point came at a public business panel. Vanessa was invited as a guest speaker. Cameras, audience, live stream. She asked me to sit in the front row. She wanted to feel supported. I agreed. What she didn't know was that I had helped organize the event, and I had chosen the guest list. Emails recovered later confirmed my involvement in the event's planning. At the time, no one questioned her presence. That night, Vanessa stood on stage, confident and glowing. She talked about success, about discipline, about honesty in business. And then, the questions began. A woman in the audience stood up. Calm, professional. She introduced herself as an investor. Then she asked Vanessa why a contract promised returns that never came. Vanessa laughed it off, said it was a misunderstanding. Then another person stood. Then another. Each one asking questions only insiders could know. Vanessa's smile began to fade. Someone asked about unpaid loans. Someone else mentioned altered projections. The room grew tense. Cameras stayed rolling. Vanessa looked around, confused, panicked. She searched for me. I met her eyes. And for the first time in years, I didn't smile. In that moment, she understood. Not everything. But enough. She realized I hadn't been helping her avoid mistakes. I had been guiding her into a spotlight she couldn't survive. Her voice cracked. Her words fell apart. The audience watched as her perfect image collapsed. Live, online, opinions exploded. Some called Vanessa a fraud. Others said she was being ambushed unfairly. And some asked a dangerous question. Who set this up? No one suspected the quiet sister in the front row. No one except Vanessa. After the event, she found me backstage. Her face was pale, her voice shaking. She asked me one question. Was this you? I looked at her, and I said calmly, you always said I was invisible, so how could it be me? She stepped back. Because she knew. Vanessa's fall was public, but the final truth was still hidden. And it would change how this story is remembered forever. Every revenge story needs a villain. But sometimes, the most disturbing truth is that both sides were right, and both were wrong. After the event, Vanessa disappeared. No posts, no interviews, no explanations. Her sponsors pulled out. Legal notices followed. Friends stopped calling. To the public, the story was simple. Vanessa lied. Vanessa fell. Vanessa deserved it. But investigators kept digging. Because something didn't add up. Months later, during a financial audit connected to Vanessa's case, something unexpected surfaced. A private digital folder. Not created by Vanessa. Created by me. Inside it were timelines, emails, contracts, and notes meticulously organized. At first, it looked like evidence. Then analysts noticed something disturbing. The documents didn't just expose Vanessa. They showed how carefully she had been guided. Not pushed, not forced, guided. Every risky decision Vanessa made in the last 2 years had come after a conversation with me. Every moment of confidence before her fall was built with my reassurance. When I was questioned, I didn't deny anything. I didn't cry. I didn't defend myself. I said one sentence. I never lied to her. I just let her be who she already was. That sentence divided the case. Some called it honesty. Others called it manipulation. Then came the final twist. In a sealed statement, Vanessa admitted something she had never told anyone. She said the humiliation years ago was intentional. She had wanted to break me. She felt threatened by my quiet intelligence. By my patience. By the way people trusted me without effort. She humiliated me publicly to make sure I would never rise. She failed. 5 years after the humiliation, Vanessa came to my door. Not angry, broken. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She asked one question. Did you plan this from the beginning? I looked at her, and for the first time, I told the truth. No, I planned to disappear. You taught me how powerful that could be. She cried. I didn't. WHO1. Vanessa lost her image, her career, her control. I lost my innocence, my softness, the version of myself that believed family meant safety. There was no celebration, no victory speech. Just silence. This case was never officially labeled as a crime, no laws were broken, but experts still debate one question. Was this justice? Or was this a perfect revenge disguised as patience? Maya Thompson never raised her voice, never exposed her sister directly, never touched her. She simply waited and let the truth do what humiliation once did to her.